Hi there, and welcome to Basic Income Fundamentals. My name is Ben Patmore, and I'm here with Brad Robertson, and we're part of Basic Income Calgary. So today we're going to review what basic income actually is. So we have a couple of things that we're going to talk about first. Our goals for this fundamentals course. We're going to talk about the basic income principles. We're going to be talking about some common myths around basic income, why we need a basic income, and then I'm going to speak with Brad here, and as he is someone who is on an income support program. So our goals today are to inform, engage, and build. So I'd love to inform you guys on what basic income actually is, engage you in a way that you can get some knowledge and around, so you can build the confidence to essentially talk about basic income to your friends and family members, therefore spreading the message and building the movement. So at Basic Income Calgary, we have 5 guiding principles. These principles that help us kind of shape what we want a universal basic income to be. So our first principle is be universal. So a basic income that is available to everyone and is received by those who fall below a certain income with no behavioral eligibility required. A basic income should be adequate, and it's at a set level that provides a decent lifestyle that enables a full participation in one's community. We want it to be individual and allow that entitlement and payment of a basic income on that individual basis to be calculated on different from on the household size and the household income. So someone who is going to be single and has lost their job and is unemployed is going to require a lot less than a family who have lost their jobs and require to feed 2, 3, 4 children. A basic income can be very different for someone who is taking care of an elderly member of the community or their family. So we want to recognize this individuality around a basic income. We also think that a basic income should be complementary and part of the broader support system. So individuals must continue to receive the supports and services they already have. This has included affordable housing, childcare, dental care, prescriptions, and other programs that help address the individual's health and well-being. Basic income should not replace these existing support programs, nor should it prelude governments from improving upon them or investing in them. It should not in any way serve as a justification for encroachments to existing labor rights and regulations, including existing commitments to the minimum wage increases. So, and our final guiding principle at Basic Income Calgary is that it should not impact the current recipients of income support programs. So a basic income should have a positive impact on poverty and those who are more likely experiencing poverty. The net income of those receiving a basic income will not be reduced, and it replaces these social assistance programs. So now we're going to get into the myths. So how can they afford a basic income? So poverty is already costing the province of Alberta anywhere between $7.1 and $9.5 billion a year. It's estimated that the poverty cost on the Canadian healthcare system is $7.6 billion a year. So the cost of providing a basic income is less than the cost of not providing it. With a basic income, we'll see, especially with that the health aspect, we know already that it can provide that stability that allows one's health to improve, therefore costing less on the other end of the system. Our second myth is if you give people money, for nothing, they will not work. So a basic income provides the basics while working will give people more. A basic income strengthens the social safety net throughout our community, and a basic income will remove some of the recognized barriers to working. So if we give people a basic income, they will spend it on alcohol and drugs. People spend money on education, including schools and colleges, computer equipment, food, childcare, transportation, and recreation. So this was something that was taken, one of the big learning moments that was taken from the Mincome experiment. That was a basic income experiment that happened in Manitoba a couple decades ago. And they took the recipients of the Mincome, which is essentially a basic income, were able to buy equipment for their farms, help with their livestock, were able to go back to school and not spend it on needlessly. They also found out that as these financial stress becomes less, the mental health improves significantly. And income security programs like old age and the Canada Child Benefit show that low-income families spend their money wisely and they buy in their neighborhoods. So that money stays locally, it doesn't go elsewhere, and therefore improving the local economy. So myth number 4, this is a funny one for me because anyone who wants to work can work. So jobs in Canada are increasingly at risk for automation. So apparently 50% of jobs in Canada are at risk for this. Low-paying retail and wholesale trade are now the leading employment sector in Alberta's economy. So wholesale trade, that's warehouse work, and that low-paying retail is at malls and at different stores. So those jobs, we see those, and those jobs are also at risk for automation. And they're quite honestly, they are a lot of the time temporary or part-time. So they're not really sustainable jobs. They don't have access to unions, and they have very little benefits. 1 in 5 Albertans right now work part-time, and that number has continued to grow over the past 10 years. Many people cannot work because of their health or abilities. So we have to how do we define work? And what is that work week like? Because for a lot of people, working 40 hours a week is not actually a feasible thing, both physically and or mentally. So when we define work in the future, how does it correspond with someone's abilities? And where does the basic income fit into that? And how can a basic income help support that individual's life? So why do we need a basic income? So rising inequality is a huge issue in our current situation. Alberta is one of the wealthiest provinces, yet has the highest level of income inequality. What affects one of us affects all of us. And when incomes are closer to equal, our communities are better. We have better mental health, we have better physical health, and we have more education. So this creates richer and stronger communities. A basic income can lead to a better distribution of income and wealth across the board. It's difficult to stop attributing one's worth into society onto how much they earn. But this really needs to change. An individual's income does not always need to be linked to the job. Looking at the person as a whole and who is a part of a larger community. A basic income can increase the resiliency in the individual by allowing them the ability to prosper without being denied those basic needs that we all need to survive. So this becomes a much needed layer in the increasingly inadequate security net that we currently find ourselves in. And finding that meaning and stability can be constantly challenging when you're trapped in survival mode, with thriving only afforded when other factors like income have been addressed. So when we talk about adequacy as a principle, we want to focus on the fact that it provides more than just the bare minimum to survive. A basic income provides those who are most affected by rising inequality the opportunity to succeed. So Healthier people create healthier communities. So when money is not a factor, do people live healthier lives? And the short answer is yes. Income and health are directly related to each other. And as we see that we can build this capacity throughout one's lifestyle. So when that income and health, that role that they play in the overall well-being has a greater effect than genetics, lifestyle, or having that ability to visit a doctor or a clinic. And that treading water of financial insecurity leads to a large array of health concerns, both in the present and further down the line into the future. Oops, sorry. Implementing a basic income does not solve all health-related issues. What it does do is provide the necessary breathing room for someone to start addressing their own health. Having a secure source of income allows for the ability to purchase the food needed and creates a direct access to reasonable housing. By alleviating the ongoing and physical and psychological stress that is present with a lack of income, an individual can begin to create that stable foundation in their lives and the lives around them. So that basic income that is part of the complementary and as part of that basic income that is part of and complementary to the broader support system allows for essentially a wraparound approach to what is to health that is already pre-existing. And supports like affordable housing and childcare, these programs need to be continued, as we mentioned. But basic income can further this capacity in one's life for these sustainable health outcomes instead of always addressing these band-aid solutions. And this will in turn have a large effect on the community at large. So this, like, bottom line is less time spent in hospitals and less taxpayers' dollars spent on health care. So the future of work. Work as we know it really has fundamentally changed. And the rate in which technology is progressing, as I mentioned, is rendering 50% of jobs obsolete in the very, very near future. Artificial intelligence is rapidly increasing, and as a result, fewer workers are needed to create more and more products. So this is not by any means a new concept, and the jobs have always been evolving. As implied, a universal basic income can allow those who are unemployed or underemployed garner financial security to live their life with dignity, but it can also go much, much further. A basic income can allow a single parent to stay home and provide for their children without the pressure of juggling a career and homekeeping. It can also allow for that child later on to take care of that parent and providing that support that they received in a time in their lives without burden. Rooted at a local level, a basic income can also provide an artisan to really explore their work, an entrepreneur to take the risk, or a volunteer to find new meaning in their community. So when we talk about a basic income and we talk about that added layer of security and the health aspect of things, that added layer of security can also be provided into the economy that's always evolving, and it can be flexible for life's really important moments. With unemployment rising and less workers paying into government programs like EI and the old age security, pressure is on municipal, provincial, and the federal government to really start to find new revenue streams. Therefore, tax systems need to be adapted. And cutting social programs and education will only increase disparity within incomes even further. So we need to place pressure on the collective responsibility to contribute back in order to ensure the well-being of our population. So human rights and the dignity of well-being. So basic income as a human right is an interesting concept that is very, very, very new. And a basic income can put this pressure off of those who are on those current government programs. And inadequate social supports currently focus on choice rather than abilities. So, for example, Alberta Works and AISH, they continually penalize those who are unable to look for work and those who make any further income. So the clawbacks on AISH can be incredibly detrimental to someone who wants to find work, who enjoys working, but chooses not to because, well, they're just going to take that money anyways, and I won't be able to be on AISH. Or if you've received a large sum of money from a will or given it to, regardless of what reasons, those AISH will claw back, and you might actually lose that. So that kind of that pressure is always nagging at the back of one's mind. Removing these clawbacks and these barriers, social workers who work with the folks who are on income supports can focus on building rapport in the individual's lives and address their unique needs. Current income support programs provide barely enough without considering any further additional resources and are essentially keeping these people in poverty. So a basic income can build a bridge and for those individuals to access greater community resources. And a basic income will not only provide the basic needs for an individual, but it is also intended to create a quality of life that allows greater participation across all peoples in society. So I want to ask the question is, what does a basic income bring to the kind of society that you want to have? So now I'm going into a Q&A with Brad. All right, this is Brad. He's part of our Basic Income Calgary, and we're going to do a question and answer. I got a few questions here for Brad. Hey, Brad.
Yeah.
So what brought you to basic income in the Calgary in the first place?
I wanted to see people better off and not see all this poverty in Calgary. I'm tired of people not having everything and having to live in shelters and that.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, it's been going on for so many years and nothing's really changed, eh?
Yeah.
So what would be your greatest hope for a basic income?
My greatest hope for basic income, and it would be universal, that everybody would get it, and everybody would be entitled to it, and it would supplement all the present disability and welfare programs that are out there, and not be deducted from them.
Yeah, and so you're currently on old age, right?
Yeah, I'm on old age guaranteed income supplement and Canada pension plan.
And did you get the disability benefit as well?
Not I don't get one. No, I used to get age, but
Yeah.
I don't get that anymore because I transitioned to seniors benefits.
Ah, yeah. So what was the biggest challenge you found that being on switching from AISH to the seniors benefits?
It was the loss of income because it's a little bit lower, if not a lot lower, in some cases, for people that are on AISH.
Yeah. So it's a big
You get
adjustment.
more benefits on AISH than you do on seniors benefits.
Yeah, that's a huge adjustment to go through.
Yep.
So we talked about like improving on those income support programs that are available now. So what do you think is the best thing that can be improved upon that a basic income can be offered?
Can you say that again?
How can a basic income improve on those current support programs that are already being offered?
Benefits that you would receive on a basic income program would be better because you would get all your medical benefits paid for. you'd get all your drugs paid for, and you would still get things like aids to daily living and that, and it would bring you up to basic level of subsistence rather than being constantly having to scramble to get these things done that you can't afford.
Yeah.
And looking for people to support you when a basic income would do that, and you wouldn't have anything to worry about.
Yeah. That constant scrambling is just exhausting, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's
So
very hard.
what do you think, that's kind of like leads into the next question I wanted to ask you is like, so that with that constant scrambling essentially being eliminated, what do you think a basic income can bring to the larger community?
It can bring a lot more. It can bring a lot more security to the larger community, and the cost will be lower to the greater community because presently all these programs are costing great amounts of money to fund. But
Yeah.
if we had a basic income, people would be more inclined, I think, to go out and find a job and wouldn't be as worried about losing their benefits and that.
Right? I know so many people that are always worried about losing their benefits, especially on Alberta Works.
Oh yeah.
So I have one last question for you, Brad. Who do you think should pay for a basic income, and where do you think that money should come from?
I think it should come from all levels of government, all three levels: municipal, provincial, and federal.
All right, that's a great answer. I completely agree. So thanks so much for joining us today, Brad.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And then I would just like to say that this was also this program, or this presentation was made in contribution with Basic Income Calgary and WTEP. We Are Together Ending Poverty, which is a small grassroots group of individuals in Calgary who started in 2008, who want to address the main root causes of poverty as well. All right, thank you very much. And if you want more information, you can always go to basicincomecalgary.ca. And we're always looking for more people to join our community. And feel free to drop us a line there and continue the conversation amongst your friends and family.